going on, you guys? Welcome to another amazing episode of Talkers versus Doers, where we highlight doers in their respected field as it relates to health and wellness, as well as all things sports within female athletes. But I'm so excited about this one. I have a sister, a friend, former teammate, captain, this all around amazing person that is going to come on the stage. So I'm going to jump in before I even go in and talk all about it because there's so many great things that I can talk about with her. But Lee Page. Well, I gotta
Girl, that
say
look
Lee Philly,
good.
you know what I'm saying? Because her name had changed though. On it. So how are you doing?
I am awesome. I cannot complain at all. I will not complain.
Oh, and I always do research. So she's seen some pictures of that she did not give me, but it's okay because I gotta highlight my girl. I gotta make sure you guys understand. So seeing you guys all the accolades that she has accomplished is just amazing. And I know it's something that I did not put up there. So kind of just tell people about you and what you're doing in addition to the things that I had in front.
Okay, so I am Lee Hadley, formerly Lee Page, as you said. I am a 2008 graduate of Concordia College, Selma, in Selma, Alabama, and I majored in elementary ed. I have been teaching now for 12 years. I've done 5 years elementary, 5 years middle school, and I am now embarking on my new high school journey where I'll be starting as a high school ELA teacher for 9th and 10th grade in August. So I'm excited about that. I have been coaching now, like I started off as an assistant coach back in 2008, and I did that for a few years, and then I transitioned into head coaching middle school girls basketball, where I'm loving it, and hopefully I will be moving up one day to being a high school coach. That's my goal.
She will, you guys. Like I said in the beginning, just a humble person. It's
Mm.
just humbling just being around her. Her energy is just so great. And when everything she do it excellent. So just being around and like you guys definitely gonna have to connect with her. So going into that, what led you into actually wanting to coach? We know you was a former athlete and you did your
Hmm.
things, championships at Concordia, but what came up into coaching?
I'm gonna just I know it's probably something that people say a lot, but just a calling because that's really what coaching is. Just like teaching is a calling for me. I think I've always been a coach though. If anybody who knew me had played on a team with me in Concordia, you knew like I thought I was the coach. I acted like the coach. I moved like the coach. So it wasn't hard for me to transition into that role of being a coach. And I just love kids. I love seeing them start from the bottom and start moving up and just watching their growth over the years. And it just excites me. And it fulfills my life to know that I am doing something that's going to provide a lifelong lesson for these kids into adulthood. So I'm enjoying it.
And I love what you said, purpose. I say that so many times that this is not a job for everybody. This is definitely a calling because you're constantly dealing with other people, kids, and
Oh,
knowing that
yeah.
you own kids that play sports. So just talk about that. How have you been able to maneuver that having your own kids? And then you're coaching one of your kids now, right?
My daughter, she's going to sixth grade. So, but she's been on my team for the last 2 years. Um, I tell people all the time, like being a teacher for one and having your own children is a challenge in itself because you're constantly seeing what you don't want your kids to be. And so you try to overdo it sometimes and over excel them, and it becomes exhausting. And coaching is the same thing because my kids between AAU ball, school ball, they're always going. And then my team is always going. So trying to find the time for myself is where I kind of lose it a little bit because I don't have a balance yet. But it's a busy life. But I do have a good support system. My family is amazing, and I have a lot of help. So I don't take that for granted at all. I do not see how single parents do all of this and still maneuver a job. I'll tell you that. So.
That you said that support system. We always talk about that too, in the field of which
Mhm.
me working with my youth and young adults of how important that is to have other people that you can lean on.
I'm
And
telling you.
also you said about the balance you haven't found it yet, but what
Mhm.
are things that you are doing just to give you? Coach Lee,
Mhm.
you sometime, what are some things that you do try to do?
Well, I have connected with a good friend group. I have it's four of us, and we're all coaches and we're all teachers, and so we have that in common. And one day we just sat down and just said, we're going to make a pact that once a month we're going to get together just as friends. It's not going to be about work. It's not going to be about kids. It's just going to be us hanging out, laughing, having a good time. So I'm doing more of that. I meditate. I do journaling a lot because as a teacher, as a coach, my brain is always on go. And that's
Yeah.
that's a big part of why I can't rest a lot is because I'm always thinking about what's coming up, what I need to do. So I try to write stuff down. I pray a lot more now, read my Bible, and I just stay around people who are going to hold me accountable for taking care of myself. And my friends do a great job with that.
I love it, having that
Hmm.
ability to just relax. Coaches,
Hmm.
and I think that's something big that we don't talk about it. We talk about it with the kids, but self care is needed for coaches too as well. You guys have to that deep breather when it comes to that because you're accomplishing so many amazing things.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes parents don't understand. I always tell parents like you're investing in your child, not that coach, because that coach got a life too.
Yes.
Like
Preach the sermon.
so with that being also with your parents, because you're a
Mhm.
parent too, how do you relate to your coaches? I mean, how do you relate to your parents saying, okay, I'm a parent too, so I understand the need to have your kid to get in the game. I understand the
Mhm.
need that you want your child to be the first one off. How do you connect and communicate? Because there's some coaches like, yo, I'm a parent too. I have kids all over the place playing. I miss the
Mhm.
games. I want to be there, but the parents don't understand. So how do you communicate with them?
I have in the 5 years, and I've been very blessed. I've had amazing parents. I cannot complain about any of my parents because we have upfront conversations in the beginning when we have tryouts. They understand, what is necessary for their children to succeed. The first thing
Mhm.
I help them to understand is this is not rec ball. We're not. This is not something they're just going to show up and do from time to time. It's a commitment. It's going to take a commitment on their part and mine. So we talk about respecting each other's time, picking your kids up on time, dropping them off on time, because I have a life too. I have my own personal children that I have to see about after practice is over. And just having effective communication when things are not going well or they need some help with something. Let's build a support system within our team so that nobody feels left out or feels slighted. And then you have that big mess with people trying to go talk to the athletic director or the principal or want to go to the board office. So my parents, they love me. I mean, I don't think I've done or said anything that they would ever say, I don't want my child playing for her. Like
Yeah.
they support me in any way possible. If I say I need something, they're always willing to do it, get it. It doesn't matter. So we have
Mhm.
built a great relationship. I started having some of their children in fifth grade because at our school they can start playing middle school ball in fifth grade. Fourth now that we have a B team. And so I've watched them grow from fourth grade to eighth grade and the parents grow with me. And it's a beautiful thing. I have no complaints.
It again because it goes back to what I was saying in the beginning, you guys, of her being the person that she is, being
Mhm.
upfront, being straight with them. And so many coaches like that because they don't want to hurt feelings in the beginning. But you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
no, I'm gonna go put this out there because if you started in the beginning, you set the tone. So
Yeah.
definitely setting the tone has been great. And being that you
Mhm.
have such great parents, earlier I had some videos going up with them and
Mhm.
Sevron was one I know where you was able to get coach of the year. So tell us about that feeling. Like what was going through your head? What was that?
It was very unexpected just coming from that Georgia Athletic Association. I wasn't expecting that just because I had never gotten it on the middle school level because I don't think it even existed. But we have a new athletic director who's all about his coaches. And so whether you're on the middle school level, high school level, he takes care of us. And he came in and he saw the hard work that I was doing. He heard a lot about what was doing previously before he even got here, and so he wanted to make sure that I was rewarded. So not only did I get the same one, my assistant coaches, he made sure they got a plaque as well that said assistant coaches of the year. Um, but it was an amazing thing. And when you put in a lot of work into stuff, at first you don't get that, you don't feel that confirmation, you don't think people see what you're putting in, you don't think they understand. And so when you get an award like that, it kind of gives you a boost to keep going. But sometimes you start thinking about, man, I'm doing all of this and I don't even know. And then we start winning championships, or the kids start getting better, academically they start getting better, socially, emotionally. I know those are wins, but it is nice to see something on your shelf that says you are doing a good job. So,
Again, it goes back to the coaches, and for the individuals that are going to be listening to this and watching this, I always say coaches matter too. Had the pleasure of
coaching.
coaching over 10 and a half years myself, and it was like, okay, what about us? Because we're going
Hmm.
to be honest, and I always say that check don't mount up to the time you put in. Like,
That's lunch money.
you're right. Especially when you're doing for other kids and you going, it doesn't mount up. So you really have to, just as they say, the teachers pay,
Hmm.
coaches need to be at another high level, because really and truly, when it comes to school and sports, the kids are with you guys more than they are with their own parents.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Some of them don't go home. You think about 7:30, they get to school. And I have late practices most days. So they don't go home until 8 o'clock at night. I mean, I spend a lot of time with these. We're like family. They come to my house. They spend the night. A lot of them, like my whole team, has spent the night over here before. We hang out all the time. We do team days once a month, so we are always together.
I love it, always, always. And like you said, you
Mhm.
guys hang out in such a big family. So the pictures again
Mhm.
show too, because I have to highlight that because we don't highlight the good things on it. So
Yeah.
we talked about coaches your award, then the back-to-back championships. What also did you gain, or the feeling with your
Mm.
parents and yourself when you guys had those back-to-back championships?
Well, we didn't start off that way. I tell you that. We kind of started in the bottom. I tell people all the time. I remember my first year. We went like 3-12. We we stunk the gym up. Like we lost
Yeah.
a lot. Um, and we went to the playoffs for the first 3 years back to back. We played the same team and we lost to the same team. And I just remember getting out the bus that last time and said, I told one of my parents that this won't happen again. Like we
Yeah.
will be a better team. And so we started working harder than probably any middle school team in our area. We don't take many breaks, summers, we're in it. And so once we finally won and we had the privilege of winning at home
Oh,
court advantage, it was a beautiful thing. Like I cried after it was all over and settled down because I realized like God had really put me in position and he gave me a vision and he helped that vision to come to life within those kids and those parents. And so to win at the school that I played at in middle school in front of people who watched me grow up. One of my coaches from high school came back to the game and to tell me how proud of me he was to see that. It was a feeling beyond what I can ever imagine.
oh
And so
wow.
after that, I just knew like, okay, we have the pieces in place now. We have the kids in place, the mindsets. Now what can we add to it to
Yeah.
come back to do this again the next year? Because now people weren't expecting us. Oh, that was like, oh, that's just one. Anybody could kind of get one, but we had a whole squad coming back,
Come
and
on.
we set our mind then like, oh, and now we on it again. We got another one we're trying to get because we still got our team. So
Come
it's
on.
it's amazing.
I
It's
again,
amazing.
I love it. I love that part because I was gonna ask you, did you cry, Lee? But like, yeah.
I did, and I'm not even a crier. That's what's so crazy. But once I sat down, like, I mean, I poured so much into this program. It is, sometimes it was beyond myself. Like, I was out the picture completely, and I put a lot of time and effort into these kids, and I didn't want it to end any other way. Like,
Yeah.
it had to end like that. And then we were undefeated. We've been 2 years undefeated with those championships, and so I said, God, I asked for us to win a championship. And they say, sometimes you don't even ask God for stuff big enough. And so all I asked
Mm,
was for us to win a championship. And he showed up and showed out. Like we won it, we undefeated. Like we haven't lost a game in 2 years on our court. Like
come on now.
so
Y'all
yeah,
better stop playing
exactly.
with us. Stop playing with Coach. Come through. Yeah, and I know she giving it to them athletes. For the athletes that's gonna listen to this, I'm sorry, but it's all worth it. I'm
It is.
telling
It
you,
is.
everything is worth it. The sweat, the tears, is all worth it. And going to that, I heard you saying something about the social and emotional learning. As
Mhm.
my a health and wellness coach that specializes in working with female athletes, it's so important to me. Also with the mental health part. I also
Mhm.
seen, from you posting on social media, y'all had a time where you guys was out in the woods and you guys was doing yoga. Like, how
Mhm.
important is that for those young ladies?
Oh man, it's the key. It's the key to our success. When I first started, I didn't realize what was necessary mentally for the girls to be successful. Like most coaches, I was thinking about how can we win? What are we gonna do to win in the X's and O's? How am I gonna teach them how to dribble, shoot? And it didn't dawn on me how much mental capacity was going to be necessary for them to sustain. So I've evolved over the years to start working on them in their mental state. Let's think about their home life. What are they going through? Why are they going through this? What are their relationships like with their parents, their peers? Why do they respond in certain ways? So we are starting to work more on that now of how to teach them how to think and how to act. I have a thing I told my other coach the other day. I said, we do a lot as adults of telling kids what they need to do, but we don't really show them how to do it. I can tell you, you need to have a better attitude, but how am I going to show you or give you the tools to have that better attitude? So that's what we're starting to work on now so that they can become better people. Because at the end of the day, everybody won't stay an athlete. That's just the bottom line. They're not going to stay an athlete forever. You got to become an adult that can manage in a world where you can't just always snap and you can't just always go off on people, or you can't run and hide and shut down, which is what a lot of my girls do when things don't go their way. I don't want to do that no more.
Yeah,
So mentally they check out. So we're trying to work on this summer. We've been working on how do I check back in when I've mentally checked out? What can my teammates do to support me? What can I tell myself? So I'm just happy about that movement that we're
it's the
working
most
on.
important thing. And I always tell people, because life, everything is 90% mental. You move,
Hmm.
you go, it's mental. So you got to be able to have that part in there. And being that they're in middle school, because precisely I
Oh
was
yeah.
working with high school and collegiate, but then I started seeing other coaches and definitely seeing the work that you're doing with middle school. And I was like, yo, I definitely got to get, Leon to be able to talk about this. I would say, how important do you believe, because you've worked solely with the middle school, that this
Mm-hmm.
type of service is needed for them in the school?
I think it's the most important. When I was teaching elementary school, I always heard a lot of people say, I would never work in middle school. Like middle school is horrible. And when I started working in middle school, I could start to understand why people had that mindset, because this is a struggling age for kids because there's so much going on with them mentally because they don't know who they are. They're trying to fit in with who they think they should be. And then they got stuff going on at home. Their body is changing. So I feel like this is the most crucial age, because when you set the foundation with them now, you teach them those tools, high school becomes a little bit easier. So for me, it's the most important now that I start teaching them that you're not going to always be 12. You're not going to always be 13. We have to figure out how can we teach you how to grow into a better individual that can handle more things as you get older. And when I think about it, we got a lot of adults that we talk at kids. A lot of kids do not have people in their homes that are having conversations with them. If they have a feeling about something, they don't get to express that,
Yeah,
because a lot of people are older and raising in their mindset. You don't you don't talk back to your parents. You don't tell me what's going on with you. You don't. I said what I said, and I
yeah,
don't. I give them a safe space, even in the game and practice. If you got something to say, it's okay. Like, okay, let's get it out. Let's figure out how we're gonna deal with it, and we're gonna move forward. And that's gonna be that. But middle school is so crucial. It is. It's a vital part of their lives that I think a lot of people just kind of skip over.
definitely.
That we need to hone in on a little bit more.
And I love that you said that, because you talk to them and you communicate with them. And that's the biggest
Mm.
thing at their age. If you're not able to positively communicate with them, then it's going to be hard. Then you're going to say, yeah, this is a group that I don't want to work with. But
Yeah.
it's communication
Mm.
of that part that is definitely needed. So, what are some challenges, just as a coach, that you face? One or two or a few that you want to say that you face as a coach when it comes to female athletes, of getting it possibly to get to another level or anything of
Mm.
that nature?
Um, the biggest challenge I face is just getting kids to understand a purpose or their why. Just starting there. I mean, we've been talking about that a lot this summer. Is what is your why? Because some of them they don't know. They're just doing something. I'm just doing it because somebody else told me to do it. So of course, when your why is not there, your effort is not gonna be there as well. So I'm just showing up. I'm just gonna kind of just go through the motion, and that's hard for me because we're not gonna go through the motion. Like either you're gonna be here to be here, or you're going to the house. That's just how I live. The other part that I struggle is with girls. The confidence in doing anything is so low. Like you constantly have to feed them something positive. You constantly got to keep, you're doing good. Come on, that's a good job. Because my God, if you don't, they make one mistake and I'm
And
like,
now
girl, stop doing
crying.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
like it's okay. It is fine. Like you are going to mess up. I tell them that even in a game, I don't expect you to be perfect. You watch any level of basketball, everybody miss layups, everybody miss jump shots. But
Yeah.
now we start to watch we watch the TV, we watch WNBA games or college game. Let's see how they respond after they mess up. This is what I want you all to see. You're no different than them. You're going to actually you're gonna mess up more than them because you're in middle school. You're gonna
Right.
miss more layups because you're in middle school. So their confidence, trying to build that confidence, is the hardest part that I've struggled with my whole coaching career
Got
with girls.
it. Okay.
Hmm.
Definitely with that part. But again, coaches, you guys here, even at the middle school level, and also my players that is going to be listening to this, that was something, I had high school players and some on the collegiate level that I was coaching. I would say, hey, have you watched the game? And they're like, no. But for you to say you pushed that in them now, I'm like, where are you trying to get to if you don't see a journey? You got to have something that you
Hmm.
to and know, because trust me, your skills is somebody outworking you every
It
day.
is.
They putting
Hmm.
that work in, and you got to be ready for that work. That means you got to watch other people. So for you to be doing it, coaches, take notes, get them together. She said they spend a lot of the house. You may not want that, but get them a hotel or something. Get them
Yeah.
together and make sure that you are actually setting an example and you're showing
Hmm.
them on it. And it goes back to I've said on past episodes. Sometimes some coaches just don't need the coach because it just ain't for you. Like, and we got a
Yeah.
lot of those that want a trophy and want to be able to talk. So
That's
you guys
it.
are really messing up a lot of young ladies' lives that has the potential to be great, but because you're coming with half telling, they don't know where to go. So it's
Right.
definitely putting in there. And now going to, how is it coaching your daughter though? I really want to talk about, because we got a lot of women out here got their own kids. How be able to coach her and still, because kids, that's coach daughter and everything.
Mhm.
How do you differentiate between that?
Um, with me, it's pretty. Uh, it's not that hard for me. My child is a lot like me when I was young. She's full of energy. She works hard. She's gonna be goofy. I mean, she is who she is, and I have no sympathy for who she is as far as her being my child. She gets treated just like everybody else. She does something wrong, she gets a consequence, just like everybody else. And I don't even think the team even look at her as a coach treats her different or anything like that because I treat all of them the same.
Yeah,
So the biggest challenge for me with coaching her sometimes though is that she listens to me as her mama and not her coach. And so she tries to play that role sometimes like, oh, I know. No, you don't know. You don't know. Like you're still learning. And so I have to tell her sometimes you gotta switch gears. I'm not mama when we're at practice or when we're at games. But my expectation is so much higher for her. I think that's the biggest problem that I might have is I expect more from her because she is my child. Because I feel like people look at your kids, oh, like you should have been doing this a long time ago because your mama a coach, or you should have been doing this a long time ago because you've been around basketball all your life. Like you don't just get it because you're around it. You have to actually practice it. So I try to, when it comes to church and state, I guess I try not to bring whatever happened in practice home because if I got onto her as Coach Lee, I don't want to come home and try to get onto her again as mama. So I try to keep a balance. So if she does something in practice, I might call her dad and say, hey, can you talk to her about her lack of effort in this area in practice today or what you saw in the game? So he helps me out a lot with that. So I don't have to, she doesn't have to try to dislike me as a
mhm.
coach and a mama. I'm okay if you dislike me as your coach because that's what it is. You ain't gotta like me. You
I
just gotta,
love that. So would
yeah.
you say that still helps build your relationship because you set that kind of boundary?
It does, and it gives her a safe space to know that okay, I'm gonna be mad with mama because she's Coach Lee because she said something in practice that I didn't like or she made us run. But then when we come home, we put that aside and now we're able to just be mama and daughter, lay in the bed together, laugh, have a good time. And
Yeah.
she doesn't even, and then she's 11. So a lot of stuff just go, it happens, she deal with it and then she move on.
Come on now. Again, parents
Yeah.
take notes. Parents that are coaches take notes of what she's
Yeah.
boundaries of being able, again, back to the support system and having other people that can fill that gap of where you know. But
Yeah.
it's also you identified it and you knew these are things that I need to do. And so many parents and just coaches don't identify, okay, this is an issue or this may be a problem. And how do we make a plan for it? So
For sure.
definitely take that notes on that plan, own it. And I go into have she just did something in a game and you just was like, yeah, that's my daughter, and be like, oh my God. And she just went in and you had to catch yourself because, like, oh, I'm still coach. But she
Mhm.
just basically she just killed him. Come on, we're gonna be real. She just did it.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. It's like because I'm so close with the whole team, I look at all of them like they my kids, and I tell them all the time. I'm very open with them, honest. I say, you know what? Sometimes I become a fan because they
Yeah.
do stuff that you don't really expect middle school kids to do, and sometimes I get caught up in the game, like, oh yeah, like let's go, because I'm just amazed. And when she does it, I think about how much better she's going to be than I was because I didn't have a me in middle school. And I'm just happy that she does have a me in middle school because I mean she is going to be if she sticks with it and keep doing what she's doing, she is going to definitely surpass anything that I did with basketball. So I'm always a fan, like
Yeah.
of
And I
all
think
of
that's the
them.
most important thing, especially as a mom and a coach. You want your child, you want your player to surpass you in
Yes.
that next level of it.
Hmm.
Because it just shows the work that you put in, but also in trusting that she believes
Hmm.
from that
Yeah.
standpoint of it. So definitely, definitely always love that, love that. And now going into like, where do you see women's sports headed? Like we had to go through the dungeon, but where do you see women's sports right now?
I think. Oh, I mean, every time I turn my TV on, I'm seeing more women things being highlighted than men. So it's exciting. And I feel like it was time. So the
Yeah.
just do is here. It's always been women's sports have always been a great thing. I just feel like it hadn't been highlighted in a sense that it should have been. So just with the new athletes coming in to WNBA or even the women going to the Olympics and things like that, I feel like it's really opening up a broader window for girls to understand that the sky is not the limit. Like
Yeah.
you really, the doors are opening everywhere. All you got to do is kind of walk in, and they have more platforms than we did coming up to really promote themselves to get out there. So I feel like the takeover is real. Like we're finally starting to raise that bar to help people understand we always had greatness as female athletes. There's always been greatness there. Y'all are just starting to see it. So
Hmm.
I'm excited to see. I've watched more WNBA games I think this year than I've ever had because now they show them on Tubi or they show them on like little local channels, and that
Yep.
wasn't a thing.
Yep. I catch them. I'll be like, come on now. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm ready. Friday nights, I'm ready. Let's go.
Tuned in, right. Definitely on the and I love you said the different platforms that they have on that. So I'm gonna first go to what platforms NIL. What do you think about that being that is there? Is it a good or a bad? What is your thoughts on that part?
Mm, that's been a debate. Like we actually had an email last week about that from our athletic department. Because it has its pros and cons. Apparently, like I said, we got an email about it. They told us this: be careful about as parents signing contracts and things that because it could kind of mess your child up in school. Because a
Yeah.
lot of parents are not thinking on a level of what negative effects is going to have. They're just thinking about, oh, my baby's going to have this deal. So I feel like it's a good thing on the collegiate level. I don't know so much if it's necessary right now on the high school level, or I think we need a little more development in that area before just shooting that stuff out there to high school kids. Because right now you're still trying to build your name. You're still trying to learn who you are as a person. I feel like when they put too much on these kids without teaching them how to manage it, you create a monster. And then
Yeah.
you don't teach them how to keep it. Because the flip side of, yeah, you have these deals, but on the other side of things, if you do something that negatively affects that company, you lose that deal and
Hmm.
multiple deals. I don't think people teach that. They just so, oh, you get an NIL deal, that's great. But if you go out here and put something on social media that embarrasses this company, what happens?
Yeah,
Or you
now
get
you
out here and you do
with your
something.
character early on in life. Before
Exactly.
you even get to that, and saying that that character goes all into you may not play sports, but you may want to go to a job, and now that job don't want you because of that character. So
Yeah.
definitely training and preparing them early
Mhm.
on. And I
Yeah.
love again that you said about social media. So is that anything that you talk about your babies with about social media? Are they very heavy on that?
Man, listen. I have a handbook, first of all, that I give my parents every year. And it's a section in there about social media. I don't deal well with negative social media posts, things that they do because I've experienced it with middle school kids. With just being on there inappropriately dressed, saying and doing things they're not supposed to be doing. So I have it's the policy is if your child is doing anything on social media that will embarrass our team or bring a negative light to our program, they will be dismissed from the team. Off real, like
Mm,
we're not gonna deal with it. One, I'm trying to help our parents to keep a watch on it because our kids got to be kids, and a lot
yeah.
of them don't understand what their children may be doing on social media, and because they are heavy in it. This is Snapchat, Facebook. If I see it, they know what it is. But we do have conversations about just the importance of what you put out there. I know people have created this thing where, well, it erases after a while. And I try to make them understand it doesn't, because in the 24 hours that you put it up there, somebody else has shared it, they've pinned it, they've recorded it, they've
Screenshotted everything.
screenshotted it. I say it never goes away. And then that moment comes up when you're on your high and you're doing good. Here comes this picture that you posted 5 years ago
Yeah.
of you in this thing that this negative light, and now it's going to hunt you. So we talk about it a lot because they are young impressionable girls, and a lot of them have older siblings and they see their older siblings doing things that they feel like they should be able to do as well. So I have to have that conversation about it and with their parents.
That handbook though, come on now. Like she ain't playing with it. I admire that because I said I coached too, middle school, but as soon as I was able to elevate up, I did and just AU and all that stuff. But hearing you talk makes it even more profound because I had a lot of people. I've done workshops because what I do is do workshops as it relates to mental health and health and wellness with
Yeah.
the parents as well as the athletes. But a lot of people say do more with the middle school. And then
Yeah.
again, I started watching and seeing the things that you post. It was like, okay, I see, how embeddedly is and watching more
Mhm.
things. I do want to dive in that more. But like you said, it's more communication because I've had some kids but a lot of coaches had them on the team because they were just on the team. And like you,
Mhm.
we play sports, so I don't want to waste my time. I don't care if it's money. Don't have me coming to your kids laughing. He. We
Yeah.
don't got time for that. We coming to play. I'm coming to talk to you about something. So that lets me know
Mhm.
you're not ready to level up to go to
Right.
that next level. I want you to have fun. I'm a TikTok dance with you and everything afterwards. But right now, while I'm speaking, let's handle
It's
some
busy.
business.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
definitely keeping that in more, having that handbook, making sure that you guys are talking with those parents
Hmm.
utmost. I think that is good. Again, my parents, I'm always reaching out to you guys and my coaches. Take this and note. When y'all have that first meeting, get you a handbook. Get you a handbook.
Make
Because
your handbook.
and they sign it, they can't come back and say we didn't know about it.
That's it right there. They sign it. I listen. I keep a copy. I have folders on all my players, and every time their parents sign one of those forms, I put it in there. So when it comes back, you can look back on page so and so. This is what it said. And so I mean, I've never had a problem with parents when it came to what that handbook says. Like what's gonna govern us all season, and they're cool with
This
it. So
is the empathy of what it means to get a Coach of the Year award. This
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
I
what it
appreciate
is.
it. I do. Because I do
Like
work, I put a lot in it too. Because the thing I learned is that a lot of people don't take middle school sports serious. It's just, they feel like that's just something to do. But my mindset has always been, I want to coach other people's kids and I want to teach other people's kids like I want people coaching and teaching mine. So I'm going to go hard for you. And I've learned that when you show kids that you're going to go hard for them, they'll run through a wall for you. They
Come
really
on,
will.
they
And my
will.
kids are like that. So we're trying to, I can't teach them about impact, because that's what we talk a lot about too, is you have to have an impact in anything that you're doing. You're not going to just be on the team. You have to have an impact regardless of what that looks like. What is going to be your impact? I can't teach you that if I'm not making one myself. So I just believe that. So I got to be present and I got to show presence. That's my motto.
Be present and show presence. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. We got a motto. Y'all stop playing. Look, I take everybody's stuff. So if you see it posted, I take it all. So with that being
Mhm.
said, though, as we gather to end, what is something that you want to give to that middle school young girl that's looking to play sports or already on the team, and what you said before may lack confidence? What kind of information are just pouring into her right now and just saying, hey, you're a middle school coach, and some things that she can do to build that confidence?
Um, the first thing I could do is, or I say is, you have to acknowledge their weaknesses and what are they lacking that confidence in. And we know as middle school kids, they're lacking confidence in their looks first and foremost. They're
Yeah.
lacking that confidence in looks, and they're lacking that confidence in ability. So the first thing I would say is to build on those weaknesses. Tell them something good that you notice about them. And I learned this from one of my players actually, because she told me one time, she said, Coach, you're always saying something about what I do wrong. You rarely tell me what I'm doing right. And I
Mm,
said, okay, I can own it. So I had to start highlighting the stuff that she was doing well, and it made it a lot easier to talk about when she wasn't doing something as well. So building that confidence is first just learning them, learn their environment, learning where they're coming from. Do they have a relationship with their parents? Are their parents building them up? Are they hearing something positive? Put them in situations where they are surrounded by other positive people, which means I got to build up all the kids. So now when they recognize one of the teammates is down or low, they're
mm,
going to learn to recognize it and say something that's going to build that person up as well. It's a family affair, and putting something into them. It's not, with middle school kids, you can't just say it one time. It's got to be a constant reiteration of the positive, the beauty that you see in them, the greatness in it. And it can't always be about their game. Sometimes it's got to be about who they are as a person. Give them
mm.
a responsibility. Show them that you're counting on them, you're relying on them, and they will start to rise for you. Set an expectation for them.
Come on. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for that, Miss Lee. And I'm gonna
Yes,
go with
yes.
the lead page. Haley, thank you so much for blessing us with just your knowledge, your information, your carefree of
Mhm.
providing it from all the whole family, as we say, from the parents, athletes, as well as the coaches. I really
Yeah.
truly thank you for coming in and being able to bless us. I know this is just the first of many when you will be coming back on, especially when you get to
Thank
the
you.
high school. We're gonna bring you back on too and be like, let's go of how it feel. Well, we thank you
Yes.
last words. And you guys, y'all know what it is. As always, don't just talk about change, be a doer change. Why? Because you
Absolutely.
deserve it. Let's grow.
Mhm.